Hi, welcome to Reform Tech channel. In this video, we'll talk about Docker Compose. Alright, so Docker Compose, it is a tool for defining and running multi-container Docker applications. So with Compose, you can use a YAML file to configure your application services. And your file has to be named as docker-compose.yaml, which we'll see in the hands-on part. But yeah, YAML is yet another markup language. It is a human readable language, so you don't have to worry about it if you're a beginner. It is not that difficult, all right? And once you have that Docker Compose file, then with a single command, you can create, start, or even stop all the services from your configuration. All right. So now, if you ask me, what is the difference between Docker file and Docker Compose? The Docker file, as we have seen in the previous video, it is a text document, right? So it's a text document file that contains the commands an user could call to assemble an image. Okay, it's for an image actually. Whereas Docker Compose, it is a tool for defining and running multi-container Docker applications. Okay, so the key difference between Docker file and Docker Compose is that Docker file describes how to build Docker images, right? While Docker Compose is used to run Docker containers. Okay, that is for building an image, and this is to build an Docker container itself. All right, so let's now look at this small diagram. So you can take any shopping cart or any food delivery app for an example. So let us take a food delivery itself for an example. So whenever user logins to that food delivery or shopping cart application, you'll have different screens, right? You'll have login screen, you'll have inventory or menu, and you have card, you have payment, you have like different screen here displayed. So these all are microservices, okay? And these microservices should talk to each other, and they also have DBs also. DBs attached, yeah. They have everything individually. They have an DB attached, or it depends on the architecture. Alright, so here is the advantage of Docker Compose. When you create multiple containers and Docker Compose can easily connect all these containers as a single service, okay, and also they can talk to each other. So this is a advantage of Docker Compose. Alright, so let's first create a simple Docker Compose and see how that works. First, maybe we'll create a simple Docker file, and then maybe another Docker file, sorry, another Docker Compose file. We'll just see how that works. Okay, let's jump to a hands-on part now. Okay, let me log in. All right, I'm in here. So yeah, so I have already created a Docker file because I don't want to waste the time while I'm recording this video. So as I said, the file name should be this way. It should be docker-compose.yaml. Okay, and I have placed in a separate folder called as tasks3. Okay, let me do a VI for this. So now, a Docker Compose file always starts the version. So version 3 is the latest. So I'm defining version as 3 and services. So in this Docker Compose file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a simple HTTPD image, and also I'm attaching in a Redis database to that particular image. All right. So if you write a file like this, say for example you have service and then you have web, and inside web maybe you can define whatever name you want. So web I'm defining here, and image name and port. So which port you want to expose this to, and database and then image. Okay, so this is a very simple Docker compose file. So if I say wq colon, yeah, and now we can before bringing up these containers, we can just check whether there is any configuration mistakes. So for that, we can just execute docker compose config. So this command will show you if there are any indentation error or any other errors that is easily seen. Okay, maybe there are no errors now, so it is showing you the full Docker Compose file. Maybe if you want, I can just show you an error. I'll just trigger an error. I'll show you how that looks. Maybe I can, yeah, I'll delete this colon and I'll execute this, and now I'll say, okay, sorry, yeah, I am clearing my screen now. Okay, let's do docker compose config now. Yeah, so as you could see here, the line 5, it says that there's a mapping values are not allowed in this context. So if you see the file, yeah, it's line number 5, right? So line number 5, it says the mapping values are not available. So meaning that it is not able to take this whole line, okay? So I mean there's some indentation error, or maybe we can check that and get it verified. So to resolve this, I'm just going to add a colon here, and I'm going to say WQ exclamatory. Yeah, done. So now to bring up both the containers, now we have two containers, right? One is our image, which is HTTPD, and the other one is our Redis image, the database. So if you want to bring up both the containers at a time, and also maybe if you want both the containers to talk to each other, then maybe you can say that is why we are using Docker Compose, right? So to run this or to build this Docker Compose, the command used is Docker Compose up and hyphen d. Hyphen d is to run in background. Okay, so if you execute this command, it will say that the running 3 by 3, and whatever it does, it just shows you here. So it is creating a database container and it is creating a web. So now if you check the containers running, docker ps-a, you can see that there are two containers running. One is Redis, another one is HTTPD, and it is exposed in 8082. Okay, now let's maybe hit this and see whether we're able to see the page. 8082. Yeah, it works. So this is the page, and we are able to see the page also now. So this is a very simple Docker Compose file again. So I just wanted to show you, start with some basics and make you understand how that works. And one more thing I just wanted to mention here is that you can scale the number of containers also. So maybe for example, as you've seen here, you have database, right? So if you want this database, now we have only one container there. So now if you want to make sure that there are 4 containers running for database, then there is a command called docker compose up hyphen d hyphen scale, and whatever either the web or database, anything you can mention. So now I want to scale database. I'll say database is equal to 4. So if I say this, then what happens is that it will create 3 more. Okay, it will create 4 more containers, and it will name it as database 1, database 2, database 3, database 4. And let's now check whether these containers are running. Yeah, so all the 4 are running now. As you could see, the names created also, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So now we have 4 containers. Sorry, if you say scale database 4, it will make sure that there are 4 containers available. Okay, so it will not create 4 more, but it will make sure that there are 4 containers available. All right, so yeah, so this is a very a common thing we use while we come across this Docker Compose. All right, so now let's do another task. So I'm going to switch to another folder for this. So task 4. Okay, so I'm going to switch this folder. I'll clear my screen, and now in this task we are going to create a WordPress. Okay, WordPress is an application where maybe you can create a site, or you can create pages in that WordPress. If you have any blogs also, that is possible in WordPress. Okay, that is simple application. So I'm going to pull that WordPress application, and I'm going to expose the WordPress application to particular port, and I'm going to attach a database to that WordPress application. And we will also use some environmental variables to map the WordPress to the database. And also we will use volume to make sure that the volume is attached to the database. All right, and yeah, maybe we'll start with that. We will just see. I have a Docker Compose file already written. So yeah, so the version again here you're mentioning it as 3, and services this time I'm using WordPress. So any name, meaningful name you can give it here. So I am mentioning it as WordPress, and image the WordPress latest one I want to download, and ports I'm going to expose it to 8087. All right, so depends on, I'll come to this in the end, but yeah, I'll maybe cover the other things. So restart always, so whenever it is starting, so it will also restart. And here we are going to mention the environment variable. So this is very important. So for WordPress, I'm going to say a key value. So DB host is the key, and it is MySQL, and user, root, DB password, admin, and DB name as WordPress. So whatever host name you are giving here, it should be the same in the next step, so that it will go and point that particular host. Okay. So now in MySQL, I'm going to pull the MySQL 5.7, and for this also I'm going to map some environmental variables so that it points to that particular WordPress account. So environment, I'm going to mention MySQL database, and here WordPress, the DB name, and the root password again. Whatever you mentioned here, I'm going to mention it here, and I'm going to attach a volume to it. So that I'm attaching a volume here because I just wanted to show you if you even kill this database, and if you create a new database, this volume gets attached to that database and you have all the data in it. All right, so yeah, I hope this Docker Compose file is pretty clear for you. And yeah, let's now build this. So the command to build is Docker Compose up dash D. So now it is running, and yeah, it has created. Sorry, I forgot to mention this here. So it says depends on MySQL, right? So I just said it here in WordPress because I want to make sure that MySQL creates first and then only WordPress gets created. So if you say it depends on, it will create in that order. Okay, so it will see that, okay, if it is MySQL is installed, no, if it is not, then it will do this task first and then it will bring up the WordPress. So as you could see here, yeah, this, yeah, as you could see here, it has bought the MySQL first and the WordPress next. All right, so yeah, you can say it depends on for that. And yeah, now let's see whether the containers are up. Yeah, the containers are up. This might be a little clumsy because we have Redis and HTTPD also here, but ignore these things and just watch the one I'm highlighting here. So this is the one which we just created, so WordPress and also MySQL, right? So it is exposed to 8087. So now let's just ping this 8087 and see whether you're able to see WordPress. Yeah, here you go. You see the page of WordPress, and now let us maybe just quickly. Oh, I don't know what is languages. Uh, I want to go for English, and I'm just going to create a quickly small site here. So site, maybe I'll say Reform Tech, username, I'll say WordPress, and admin, and it will not allow you to enter this, but I can say confirm use of weak password, and email, I'm just going to give something for now, admin@admin.com, and I'll say install WordPress. Okay, don't save. Okay, now I'll just log into WordPress. So it's WordPress and admin is the password. Okay, don't save for now. Uh, yeah, so now we are inside this page, and maybe I'll just create a site first. I'll say visit. Okay, I'll just say reform. Oops, reform tech. Yeah, I'll publish this. Publish. Okay, it's published, and I'll close this, and I'll click on WordPress. Okay, now if you could see, there are two posts now, and you see a reform tech page here, right? So yeah, as you could see, there are two posts. One is hello world, and other one is the reform tech. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kill all these things. Okay, maybe I'll just kill the yeah, I'll just maybe kill everything and I'll just show you that also how that works. So now we have WordPress application, and also you have this database also, right? So now if you want to kill all the I mean, if you want to kill both the WordPress and MySQL at a time, then you can say Docker compose down. So what this will do is it will make sure that it is the container whatever created inside this file, it brings everything down. Okay. Before I execute this command, I'll just show you this docker ps-a. Yeah, so now we have this MySQL database, right? So this MySQL database container ID is 67. Okay, so maybe I'll just stop this rm-f 672. Okay, yeah, I am just stopping this database for now, and I'll refresh this page, and it should show some error now. So as you could see, it says error establishing a database connection because we do not have a database now, right? So I'll do a docker ps and show you docker ps. Yeah, as you could see, there is no MySQL database since we have terminated it now. And yeah, now I'll bring this Docker Compose also down. So Docker Compose down, this will delete uh, the WordPress also. Yeah, now the WordPress is completely removed, and now if you refresh, yeah, you cannot see anything here. Now if I say Docker Compose up hyphen D, yeah, now if I say this command, it should bring this page. Yeah, okay, it brought this page, and let me log in WordPress and with admin. Okay, now if you could see, even if we deleted the database and we killed the WordPress also, and we have again bought the instance back, the containers back, but you could see still see this pages here, right? This means that we have a volume attached to it, right? So when you even kill the container, the volume exists, and when the container got created again, it got mapped to the same volume. So if you ask me where is that volume, then I can show it here. Actually, see here, it is here in MySQL because in the Docker Compose file, we have just mentioned this path. Vi Docker Compose. Yeah, so here we have mentioned this path, right? So it is getting mapped to this particular path. Alright, so yeah, so I hope you would have got an idea about Docker Compose. So if you want to create any application which has a front end and back end, then this is quite useful so that you can create at once, and also you can make sure that it is using the same service. Alright, so that is it for this video. Yeah, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.